Of the 16 Myers-Briggs personality types, one is more unusual than all of the others. This is the INFJ. Known for being a walking contradiction, INFJs are known for wanting to help others yet spend time alone, for fighting for others' rights but at their own expense, and for being imaginative yet rational. Because of these unique combinations, there are some things that only INFJ personality type truly gets. Today, on Charisma, we're going to look at the 10 things only a true INFJ would understand. Number 1. You don't conform. INFJs may be quiet and introspective, but that doesn't mean that they're pushovers. If you're an INFJ, you likely don't conform to societal standards of what's popular. In fact, you often go against the status quo. While growing up, your peers may have been into partying or gossiping about the latest school drama, you likely found these things not only irritating, but in conflict with your desire to discover the deeper meaning of life. As a child, and even as an adult, you might find yourself skipping a party or a happy hour to go to a museum or an art show. And when you are around others, you probably try to steer the conversation away from trivial topics and more towards subjects like philosophy. As an INFJ, it's more important to you to delve deep into life and its purpose than to fit in with others. Number 2, you're intuitive. Have you ever known something that was going to happen before it did? Maybe you were thinking of a friend you hadn't spoken to in a while, and all of a sudden, they texted you out of the blue. Or maybe you had a feeling that someone you knew was in trouble, and when you called them, they were. INFJs are incredibly intuitive because their minds are able to connect patterns in ways that other Myers-Briggs types cannot. As an INFJ, your mind is constantly absorbing information, especially difficult to discern information like comprehending the true meaning behind what someone is saying. Your mind then processes this information in a way that enables you to extract patterns and meaning from it, which often manifest as intuition. Your strong intuition means that you probably trust your heart more than your head and make decisions based on instinct, not rationalizing. Number 3, you care about others. Just because you don't care about fitting in doesn't mean that you don't care about others. In fact, INFJs are known for being one of the most people-oriented personality types. You need to look no further than famous INFJs Mohandas Gandhi, Mother Teresa, and Jane Goodall to know what we're talking about. Drawn to a deep need to improve the lives of others, if you're an INFJ, you might find yourself in a career or volunteer position that involves helping people, like counseling or education. And even on a day-to-day basis, you probably find that you are driven to make others happy. Part of this goes back to your deep empathy, meaning that you feel the emotions of others as though they were your own. So when others are hurt, you feel hurt. And by the same token, when people are happy, you're happy. Number 4, you go all in. Did you get straight A's growing up, or make up your mind to run a marathon even though you could only run a mile, and then go on to do it? The ability to set and reach goals, no matter what they are, is one of the defining components of the INFJ personality type. INFJs are known for giving things 100%, whether it's a career goal, a relationship, or simply a commitment they made to someone. And while INFJs aren't the only Myers-Briggs personality types that are goal-oriented, they differ from other types in that their goals often have a humanitarian or spiritual element to them. You might, for instance, set a goal of meditating daily or lifting a certain amount of weight at the gym, but whatever it is, you pride yourself on giving it your all. Number 5, you feel guilty. Do you replay moments over and over in your head? Do you often feel guilty for something you said or didn't say? If so, you may be an INFJ and may be experiencing what's known as the INFJ guilt complex. The guilt complex is born out of the introverted intuition and extroverted feeling INFJs have. Introverted intuition means that you look within yourself to make sense of things. Extroverted feeling means you pay close attention to how you make other people feel. So, if we put these two together, it means you look within yourself to understand how you make other people feel. In other words, you feel an enormous sense of responsibility for the emotions of others. So if a close friend of yours is feeling down after hanging out with you, you might immediately blame yourself and try to identify what you did wrong instead of understanding that it may have been something outside of you. Number 6, you would rather stay in. INFJs crave alone time, but you genuinely need it. This is due to the fact that INFJs are only able to emotionally recharge when they're alone. This doesn't mean that you don't like going out, but if push came to shove, you'd take a night spent at home doing something you enjoy over a big party. Your need for alone time doesn't only apply to structured social events, however. A normal day at work or school, or even a trip to the grocery store, can be emotionally draining for you. Your friends may tease you for being a homebody, but you probably don't mind because time spent alone is as crucial to you as food and sleep. Number 7, you're a great communicator. Because introverts like to spend time alone, this often earns them the reputation of being shy and a poor communicator. But this isn't always the case, especially when it comes to INFJs. In fact, if you're an INFJ, you may be an extremely effective communicator. This is due to your empathy and ability to read others. When you can understand subtleties in someone's behavior that others don't typically notice, this gives you an advantage as you're able to adjust your communication style accordingly. For instance, if you're talking to someone and externally they appear happy, but you can sense that something's off, you'll be able to communicate more successfully with them. If you're an INFJ, you're probably also great at giving speeches. That is once you get past the initial nerves of speaking in front of others. Martin Luther King Jr., for instance, who is widely thought to be one of the greatest orators, is believed to have been an INFJ. He was a master of reading people from all walks of life and understanding how to communicate to get a message across. Number 8, you have a small group of friends, intentionally. The first letter in INFJ stands for introversion, meaning that this personality type gets most of their energy being by themselves than they do with others. However, at the same time, they crave connection with others, so in order to resolve this, they find themselves with a small group of friends. Another part of the reason you prefer small groups of friends is because you have a difficult time trusting people. Since it takes you a while to open up and build meaningful relationships, it makes sense that you're only going to invest this time in a few people. And because INFJs value meaningful relationships so much, you are quick to cut someone out of your life who you feel is no longer fitting that category. You might constantly feel like you're weeding out your friend group. While this may seem cold and even heartless to other personality types, to you, it's necessary to remove those people who you feel don't bring anything to the table, because you put so much weight on those you choose to surround yourself with. Number 9, you like sad songs. Most people listen to sad music at low points in their life, like after a breakup or a tough life transition. But if you're an INFJ, you probably find beauty in sadness even when you're not feeling particularly sad. The reason for this goes back to your desire to understand the depth in all aspects of life, whether that's a person or a work of art or a song. You understand that you cannot have happiness if there is not also occasional sadness, so you find sort of a poetic beauty in things others may consider negative. To you, sadness and grief bring more meaning to life because they heighten things like joy and happiness. Number 10, you're organized. INFJs spend a lot of time in their heads, processing thoughts, emotions, and events. At times, this can become quite chaotic. As a way of coping with this inner chaos, you likely try to find organization and calm in your outer world to balance things out. If you're someone who can't stand the thought of an unmade bed or a desk cluttered with papers, you can probably relate to this. Your desire for orderliness can sometimes go too far though, resulting in intense perfectionism or an obsession to keep your environment flawless. But when balanced, your organization actually ends up being a healthy way for you to cope with all of the inner turmoil you experience on a day-to-day basis. Did you know that INFJs have a secret dark side? Watch this video to learn the dark side of the INFJ.